Nvidia's recent announcement of NVLink Fusion marks a massive shift to the overall company strategy, opening its proprietary high-speed interconnect technology to third-party CPUs and ASIC players. While several semiconductor companies have joined this initiative, Broadcom's notable absence raises important questions about the competitive dynamic in the AI chip market. So what does this mean for Broadcom, and should investors be worried? Let's take a look in today's episode. But too long don't watch. In an overall, this does create up competitive pressure for Broadcom in a very, very small market. It's not going to completely cannibalize Broadcom's moat or Broadcom's revenue, in my opinion, but it is some risk that investors need to consider. And like I mentioned, I'll talk a little bit more in today's episode.
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
All right, so first is understanding NVLink Fusion and its strategic importance. Nvidia unveiled NVLink Fusion at Computex 2025, presenting it as a program designed to enable customers and partners to integrate non-Nvidia CPUs and or accelerators with Nvidia's own hardware using its high-performance NVLink technology. This marks a departure from Nvidia's previous approach, as NVLink was exclusively available for Nvidia's own product. Now, NVLink Fusion allows for the construction of semi-custom AI infrastructures that can link non-Nvidia accelerators with Nvidia hardware in a rack-scale solutions. And this is what is super important to understand. This is for semi-custom AI infrastructure. It's not semi-custom AI chip, it's semi-custom AI infrastructure. And to be able to build rack scale solutions, not to be able to build individual chips. And if you want to support the channel, make sure to hit the thumbs up, make sure to hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to hit 75,000 by the end of the year, and it would be super, super helpful. Now, if you want to help out a little bit more, make sure to check out my special offer at fool.com/Jose. And more importantly, I really do love FinChat as a data platform for investors. So check out my special offer at finchat.io/Jose. The link is down below. 15% off. You're not gonna regret it. Check it out, and let's get back to today's episode. So the technology provides up to 1.8 terabytes per second of bi-directional bandwidth per GPU or AI accelerator, which is multiple times faster than some of the open source solutions right now. Now, this high-speed connectivity is crucial for scalable AI workloads, particularly for model training and AI inference solutions. And right now, we are in the world of AI inference and thinking models. So this is super, super crucial. One of the main reasons Nvidia has done really well with their overall infrastructure is because of the NVLink, the NVL72 that connects 72 Nvidia GPUs into one massive GPU, which is super, super beneficial and cost efficient for inference. Now, current partners in the NVLink Fusion ecosystems include MediaTek, Marvell Technology, AI Chip Technology, Sistera Labs, all big players in semi-custom design. Synopsys and Cadence are there to form a verification, validation, and design of the overall concept. And then you have companies like Fujitsu and Qualcomm set to integrate the technologies into their own CPUs. It's crucial, again, to understand that Nvidia isn't wanting to help design ASIC solutions. It's leaving that to those other players, but it wants to be able to allow ASIC solutions to connect in a way that is important to build massive AI data centers. Now, a critical aspect of NVLink Fusion is that it comes with a significant strings attached. According to industry analysts, NVIDIA's business model for NVLink Fusion requires that all nodes must contain at least one NVIDIA solution, either a CPU or an accelerator. This requirement means that while partners gain access to NVIDIA's high-performance interconnect, they must commit to keeping NVIDIA's hardware in their system. For the broader semiconductor ecosystem, NVIDIA's move is a pressure on other interconnect and accelerator standards. And the most notable is the open consortium called UA-Link, or Ultra Accelerator Link, which has been working on an alternative to NVLink. In fact, in 2024, they did kind of release some of the specs of their UA-Link 200G, and it aims to be a multi-vendor open standard for accelerator-to-accelerator communication, specifically becoming an alternative to NVIDIA's proprietary NVLink. And UA-Link boasts 75 members, including industry's heavyweights like AMD, Broadcom, Intel, Cisco, Google, Meta, Microsoft, and many, many others. Now, NVIDIA's introduction of NVLink Fusion can be seen as a competitive response, a way to entrench NVIDIA's Link before UA-Link or similar standards gain traction. I think it was actually a pretty smart move. By enlisting key IP and ASIC firms in its camp, NVIDIA is trying to ensure that anyone who wants high-performance AI interconnects will find it easier to go with NVLink and, by extension, NVIDIA's hardware solution than to adapt a standard like UA-Link. In the near term, this strengthens NVIDIA's AI ecosystem advantage. The company is effectively spreading its roots into the custom ASIC space via partnership, making its technology central even in projects that aren't 100% NVIDIA. Now, why Broadcom is absent from NVIDIA's partner list? When we saw the announcement of NVLink Fusion and listed all the initial partners, two notable names were missing. First was Broadcom, second was AMD. I would say AMD's absence is unsurprising, as direct GPU and CPU competitor, AMD is pursuing its own interconnect strategies. Now, Broadcom's admission, however, raised strategic question because Broadcom is a heavyweight in custom silicon and data center connectivity, exactly the kind of expertise NVIDIA is leveraging with others like Marvell and MediaTek. Now, there are several interrelated reasons, like explaining why Broadcom is not, at least publicly, amongst NVIDIA's NVLink Fusion partner. First is competitive and overlapping business areas. Broadcom and NVIDIA have overlapping ambitions in the data center, particularly in networking. Broadcom is a dominant supplier of Ethernet switches silicon like their Tomahawk and Jericho series ASICs, which is used in cloud data centers, as well as a major network interface card vendor as well. Now, NVIDIA, after acquiring Mellanox in 2020, has become a direct competitor in high-performance networking, selling InfiniBand and high-end Ethernet solutions like Spectrum switches and their own NICs. Now, NVIDIA's new Spectrum X Ethernet and Quantum Ethernet switches, which NVLink Fusion deployment would presumably use to scale out, compete against Broadcom's Ethernet offering. A deep partnership on NVLink Fusion could be viewed by Broadcom as strengthening a competitor's ecosystem at the expense of its own. For example, if NVLink with NVIDIA NICs and switches become the preferred way to build out AI cluster, Broadcom risks losing share of the networking interconnect in those clusters, since NVIDIA would most likely supply the NVLink fabric and the surrounding network gear. Now, Broadcom might prefer to push solutions that involved its own connectivity IP, like standard Ethernet or emerging alternatives, rather than endorse NVIDIA's proprietary network. So that's the first thing. Again, remember, this is not a completion or a competition against ASIC solutions. It's a competition on the networking side, and that's something that Broadcom is also heavily in. The second thing is Broadcom focuses on custom silicon independence. Broadcom has built a lucrative business as to the go-to ASIC designer for hyperscalers who want their own silicon by building custom AI accelerators and networking chips for companies like Google, Meta, and others. This includes the most popular Google's TPU AI accelerators. Now, in these relationships, Broadcom is essentially enabling alternatives to NVIDIA. Now consider NVLink Fusion. It invites those same customers to integrate custom chips into a system that chooses to augment NVIDIA's platform, rather than to build a completely separate platform. So Broadcom's role might be reduced, and Broadcom will no longer be building a full custom solution to displace NVIDIA. Instead, it might at best get a contract to co-design the ASIC that plugs into NVIDIA's ecosystem. That scenario would be less lucrative or strategically satisfying for Broadcom. In other words, Broadcom might fear that partnering with Nvidia will cannibalize its own custom silicon business, and Broadcom thrives when hyperscalers decide to roll their own and buying instead of buying kind of an Nvidia standard. Finally, we kind of have like the financials and negotiation factors. Broadcom is known to be a strong player in focusing in profitability. It is possible that Nvidia's terms for these partnerships in terms of licensing fees and pricing and the division of design responsibility did not meet Broadcom's financial criteria. Broadcom might prefer relationships where it owns more of the IP and can capture more of the margin. In an NVLink Fusion scenario, Nvidia would likely take share of the value by selling the NVLink chiplets or IP licenses. Broadcom could have most likely calculated what this new business would be, and it says, hey, look, it's not worth it for them. So should Broadcom investors be worried? On a top level approach, it's not like Nvidia is going to be replacing Broadcom in ASIC solution. So the ASIC solution is pretty strong in my opinion, still for Broadcom. But it could reduce potential revenue if companies want to use NVLink instead of an open source solution. So, right, if you start to kind of see people use NVLink instead, you start to see the reduction of some of Broadcom's solutions. Now, it is also crucial by not partnering with Nvidia, it's kind of showcasing that you as a company believe that you can provide a better solution. But now you have your competitors like Marvell and MediaTek that are using Nvidia solutions. So if a customer believes that Nvidia has a better solution, they're less likely to go work with you and more likely to go work with Marvell and MediaTek. So the question here is, who is going to be the leader in this kind of networking solution? Is Broadcom going to continue to hold a massive dominance? If the answer is yes, then I do believe it was the right answer for them to ignore this partnership. If they start to lag in innovation and Nvidia starts to fuel that innovation a lot faster, then this could actually be seen as something that Broadcom investors should worry. So this is something that you should now have in your thoughts when investing in Broadcom. Who do you believe can be the bigger player here in the networking solution? At the moment, we definitely do see many scenarios where Broadcom has done really well at innovation and designing some great AI chips and connectivity solution. You also have that massive consortium of the UALink that if it is successful, it could continue to win. And you have a lot of big names in that space. So at the moment, I would say I'm still not worried if for Broadcom investors, but it is a risk that needs to be watched. Take care, have a good day, and see you all next time.